So again, we're talking about washing your hands in the morning. So one of the interesting things, which many people are very, very makbid on, some people aren't, but is in halacha. We mentioned this briefly last week. So in halacha, it's not brought down anything about, it says in the morning you have to wash your hands, but it's not brought anything down in the Paiskin about, what I mean the Paiskin in Shulchan Aruch and the Neisakelu in Shulchan Aruch, about not walking around after you didn't wash your hands. In other words, you wake up in the morning and going around without washing your hands. We discussed last week if you touch food, whether you should eat it, you should wash the food, whether mechayiv to, not mechayiv to. But the Mishnah Berurah brings down here Miyad kashisoyim mishinosai ve'einu roitzu lishan. So we'll medayik this soon. But if he gets up in the morning, doesn't want to sleep anymore, yitul yad should wash his hands right away, even if he's still lying down. You have to be very careful in this. So Mishnah Berurah takes the strong side over here that you shouldn't even get out of bed, you shouldn't do anything, you shouldn't walk down Ramas 4 kibbutz without washing your hand. And he says, B'Zohar Kodesh, Maflig Avu Zeh Ba'oin Shel Ma'oid Ki Mashal As V'Ruach Tumah. You're leaving the Ruach Tumah on you. And the Zohar Kodesh is very makbid, and that is not brought down in halacha at all. And the Paiskim, it comes from the Telos Yaakov. The Shlomo brings the Telos Yaakov that brings us down from the Zohar. It's brought down in other places of the Zohar. That so there's one place where the Zohar sort of got its way into the halacha, where it's not brought down. The Rambam doesn't mention that. Nobody mentions this about. They mention to wash your hands in the morning. Make a bracha on the Telos Yadayim, right? It makes it so it's halacha to wash your hands. But this concept of being careful not to wait around before you wash your hands, that's not brought down in the halacha per se. Mishnah Berurah brings it down from the Zohar, such a thing, and he's very machmir on it. He says, so what do you do? He says, B'kol makom, if he has to use the facilities, he can't hold himself in, he shouldn't. That's Isser min HaTorah, about the shaksu, to hold himself in. You should go right away. You shouldn't take the time to wash your hands first. You should run and go use the washroom first, because that's a Isser, he says. Chalil Havashum Isser, Avur Chasar Netilas Yadayim. Because again, this is only from the Zohar, it's not the halacha. So something which is halacha concerned, that takes precedence. So he says, if the water is far away from you, he says, no gu k'tzatzi bala nefesh, that they walk less than 4 cubits at a time. They walk a few steps, they stop. They walk a few steps, they stop until they get to the water. Because of Shayat Shuva, you shouldn't do that. It's better, because that takes too long. It's better to run as fast as you can to get to the water and wash your hands. And Yeshayim is a kula a lot of people rely on. The Inyan Zeh, we say kula basic kadal ramas. This is brought down from the Eliyah Rabbah, that you could say the whole house is considered like 4 cubits, and therefore you can walk on the house. Now, the problem with this is, he says, but the Mishnah Berurah doesn't like it. He says, the problem with the 4 cubits is that the house is considered Dal Ramas is coolly in all the halacha. Whenever it says a house, it means a cheder, a room. It doesn't mean a house. When you have halachas, you make a bracha in one house, whether you move to another house, whether you could rely on the same bracha. Yes, a shini makom, you have to make a new bracha. A house means a cheder, means a room. They'll ask me, well, you make a bracha one room sometimes. You move to the other room, that's a room where you normally go in and out of, so you have in mind for it. But house, a cheder is a room. Especially the halacha where it comes from. It comes from the halacha of a mace. If you have a mace in the room, you're not supposed to do things in that room. You should go out of the room to do things. Right? To eat, to do things, you should go out of the room. So it says, Dalar Amos in a mace, or in the room. Because Kol HaCheder is Dalar Amos. The whole room is Dalar Amos. But the next room you can go. So we always consider a room a house. So the problem is, most houses, the sink is in the washroom, which is another room. So the question is, could you count that as the same room as the bedroom? If you want to be makbid on the Zohar, there were Makaimis who were very makbid on this, and the Makaimis they weren't so makbid on this. It's hard to say. It's again, the halacha is not brought down. It's brought down in more Mishabur brings down from the Zohar, the Sharachu brings down. But the earlier Paiskim, it's not there. It's brought from the Tulas Yaakov. That's where it comes from, which is a Sefer Kabbalah. So that's the question. They even saw a child tshuva in Chalkas Yaakov. If you have to climb down a bunk bed, you count Dalar Amos vertical or horizontal. How do you count Dalar Amos? But in any case, this is a hakpada that many people are makbid on for this reason, to have what we call negavasa by the bed, which takes care of this problem.
There's a story floating around Chabad.
What?
There's a story of Chabad. I won't say the name because he denied it, but it was. I heard the story was from his father. He went to war in Korea. Before he went to the Rebbe and said, is there anything? He says, make sure you do Netilat at your time. Make sure you do Negel in the morning.
Right.
So okay. So when you're in the army, they had a tent, and then the water was like in a stream way far away.
Right.
You didn't have a tap. You didn't have pots and stuff. So you go down. So he got up in the morning, went down to the Nebuch plane, came over and bombed
the place. So I didn't have a chance to get to Kavah Yosher. There's a parak on this. Is very marach on this Kavah Yosher. But in any case, this is there's a thing. So that's based on desire. A person shouldn't walk around. Definitely shouldn't prolong his non-washing of the hands in the morning, unless there's a reason for it. But the question is like this: the Lashon in the Mishabur is mashma that when he gets up in the morning and he doesn't want to sleep anymore. Now, it happens a lot of times. You wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and you have to 5 o'clock. I mean, you have to use the facilities, but you plan on going back to bed. You want to dive back under the covers as soon as you use the facility. So, in that case, are you mechuyev to wash your hands? In other words, at what point does this chiyuv set in that I have to wash my hands now, or could I just use the washer? But you have to make a bracha, hashayotza, so you could just put a little water on your hands, medium manaki, or you could wipe your hands, But to wash negelvasser, are you mechuyev to in the middle of the night? So the Mishabru is mashma, you don't have to. He brings down from Eshel Avram, that brings down from Netish Hashuim that you don't have to. You don't even have to. You don't have to makbid on this whole Dalar Amos business. You could just in the morning you could just go and use facilities and come back, and not in the morning, in the middle of the night. And when you finish sleeping, that's when this hakpada sets in. But this could be, there's a question, is this only before Alois HaShachar or after Alois HaShachar? In other words, do we say after Alois HaShachar, that's the time when that's already considered morning? Some people sleep into 10 o'clock, but it's already morning, So it could be after Alois HaShachar, which sometimes could be quite early. Maybe that doesn't apply either. That's another question. And some people say after Chatzos already it sets in. So it seems that the best thing is to wash the Tfilas Yadayim even if you wake up any time, especially if you wake up after Alois. Especially after Alois, if it was 4 o'clock, 4:30, I'm telling Alois. You should already wash your hands. If it wants to be makel, not to have to do it by your bed. Okay, there's a makom lahakal if you're going back to sleep according to the Mishabur, so then you could just go and wash your hands. But the Olam is noyig not to make a Netilas Yadayim until the morning. It's a question when you make the bracha on Netilas Yadayim. Until you finish, you're getting up for the last time, and you make Netilas Yadayim because you want to do it before the davening. So last time you're going to wash your hands, you make a Netilas Yadayim. We spoke about last time. It's a question if you're making Netilas Yadayim when you wake up in the morning, you make it when you come to shul, when you wash your hands. But either way, you want to be yotze that shita that the washing your hands for tefillah. So that's what a person should do. Now, what's interesting to note is, many people don't know this, is that there is a chiyuv to wash your hands for tefillah, for davening. People come running in, shachas, mincha, mariv, and you just go without washing your hands. Either we didn't mention that, that's only last week, in the things you wash your hands for, but this is another simon in Shulchan Aruch. It's in Sadik Beis, which says like this: Tzarich koydem tefillah, tzarich l'urchetz yadav b'mayim. You have to wash your hands with water, and yesh loy if you have water. Ein loy, you have to go ad parsa. We'll come back to this. You have to travel to get water to wash your hands for tefillah. Same halacha we have for washing your hands for bread. You have to travel to wash your hands for bread until a parsa, l'fanav, l'achrav, a mill. We'll see about this soon. And if you're afraid that you can't, you'll miss the Zman Tefillah by running around looking for water, then you could just wipe your hands, b'tzvar, ba'afa, you can wipe your hands, b'midim menaki, that's enough to daven. But there is a halacha that you're supposed to wash your hands. Now, the Mishabura says, davka, this is what everybody's makel on, it says, v'davka, k'shiyadeh Hashem l'chachas, that's only if you know if they're dirty. Or b'stam yadayim, mekel b'samach, b'sifhei. So what does it say in Sifhei? It says like this: if you washed your hands in the morning for shachris, we mentioned this last week, you already washed your hands in the morning when you woke up, the siach daitai, but then you had your mind off your hands, you have to wash it for tefillah if you have water. You don't make a bracha. So, if you don't have mayim zumonim in front of you, so you don't have to wash your hands again. So here we will make them. In the first halacha we said you have to go a mil out of your way. It's 18 minutes. You have to travel by car 18 minutes to find water if you don't have water before you daven. If you can't, you're afraid you're going to miss davening, then you can just wipe your hands. In this halacha it says if you washed your hands already in the morning, so then it says that siach daita, and you just didn't keep your minds on your hand, then it says you should wash. But if you don't find mayim zmonim, if you don't find water in front of you, so you don't have to wash again. You can rely on the first washing that you did in the morning. But it's still best, the Mishabur says, it's still best to wipe your hands like this. So that's where it comes from. So many people, I already washed my hands in the morning, so you're not mechayiv to go run and wash your hands again. But according to the halacha, it just says if you don't have water in front of you, mezumanim. So if you were not masiach das, you came straight after washing your hands and you came straight to shul, you didn't do anything in between, then you're good. If you were doing other things in between, so then l'chatchila one should wash his hands. If there's water in mezumanim, should wash his hands. Doesn't necessarily have to do it. That's like 3 times with a kais and all the things, it's chatchila, but it's not ma'akiv. But he definitely has to wash his hands. Now, if a person washed his hands, let's say he came to Beis Medrash and he came to learn, so he washed his hands and then davening is an hour later, that's fine. Because if you wash your hands, l'shem tefillah, and you didn't do anything bad in between, you didn't do anything, that would dirty your hands necessarily in between, you could rely on that. A person could rely on that, the minhag to be makel, that's enough. So, but there is a halacha to wash your hands. You're coming from mincha, you've been working all day, doing things all day. So if you just ate lunch, and you washed your hands, and you had a mind you're going to daven mincha after lunch, so you bench, so it could be that's good enough, because you washed your hands for lunch, as the price can be down, you already washed your hands, and you weren't masiach das, you ate lunch, and now you're going straight to mincha, so it's also good. Also you yaitzu with that. But barring the fact that you already washed your hands somewhere or another, the person has to wash his hands again for tefillah, for davening. This halacha goes to such an extent that the Rambam holds, it's down here, Das Rambam, that if you're mechuyev to wash your hands and you didn't wash it, and you didn't even wipe it on a tzvar to clean it, you didn't wipe your hands to clean it, even b'diavad, you weren't yotzi tefillah and you have to daven again. That's what the Rambam holds. So the halacha brings down, that's only if you're really mechuyev, if you know your hands were dirty. Stam yadayim, you could be mekel not to daven again. So that's how far this halacha goes. So there is halacha to wash your hands before davening. Okay. So I think we covered the washing the hands in the morning. How much do you have to sleep? So if you sleep, sleeping at night, you said you wash your hands, right? For ruach ra. Now sleeping in the day. So the Mechaber says like this: if you sleep in the day, Shabbos afternoon, you have a good nap. So it says yesh l'stapik im tzarich laris malim elagim panim. It's a suffix if you have to wash your hands 3 times. That's what the Mechaber brings down. So the question is: the night causes the ruach ra, or the sleep causes the ruach ra? That's the question. What causes this ruach to come on your hands if to wash 3 times? You definitely have to wash once or wipe your hands with some medium menaki, because at night, even when you're sleeping in the day, your hands are busy, you don't know where you touched, it could be dirty, so you have to wash your hands. But you don't have to do 3 times because the ruach ra might not be there. You don't make a bracha until it's daim either. So it says David HaMelech was nizar not to sleep 60 breaths. Because sleeping, gives you a little bit of a taste of misa, and he didn't want to have anything to do with misa. He didn't want to have any taste of death at all. He's alive and kicking. He didn't want any taste of death, so he didn't sleep in the day. He didn't sleep, period. The question is, Bayayim, Balayla. He didn't sleep. David, he said, Gemara says, even Archatzois Halayla, he would sleep pachas from Shishim Nishmas, and then he would get up. So, he says, David Ba'atzmai was nizar at night, not even to sleep 60 breaths. 60 breaths is a shayla, how long it is. Most we go, didn't we hold a half hour? So he didn't sleep a half hour. They say the Goyin slept at night 2 hours and half-hour shots, because he also didn't sleep a half hour.
Who helped them out with this? Someone with the stopwatch?
They were able to do it, So he says, David HaMelech would do that, but Chatzais Ve'elach, he already was Miskabek Hari. So it says here, so it says, the Don Bal Nefesh is Yachmak upon him by Yoim. And Shabbos is not B'chlal Zeh. So Shabbos you let us sleep more than a half hour. If you want to be Bal Nefesh and not sleep more than a half hour, for us, we're not David HaMelech, so we could sleep at night. And in the day, a person should be careful not to sleep more than a half hour. But on Shabbos, you're allowed to sleep more than a half hour. I think they bring down the Arizal used to sleep on Shabbos. Hey, like that one. So, it brings down, the Arizal used to sleep 2 to 3 hours. He held that that's called Shishim Nishmasim. But in any case, others are much more machmer. Mashima's 1 chelak, which a chelak is 1,080 chalakim in an hour, right? So make the cheshbon. Chelak is about 3, a little over 3 seconds, 3.3 seconds. They announce chalakim by the moiled, right? It's, the moiled is going to be 10 chalakim. But a chelak, there are 1,080 chalakim in an hour. That's how we split up. We don't split up with minutes or seconds. We split up with chalakim. Chalakim are about 3.3 seconds. Each chelak. So 60. What?
Right, no?
Maybe 30.
Because you have 60 minutes, 60 seconds.
3 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 3.3 minutes. That should be.
Yeah.
Minutes.
No.
There you have 60 times 60 is seconds. 3,600.
Yeah.
That's 60 times, and that's seconds. seconds. 3,600 seconds in an hour, and you have chelak is 1,080 seconds. So it's about 3.3 seconds. Chelak.
Yeah,
3.3 seconds. Yeah, 3.3 seconds.
Hey, cell phone off here.
3.3 seconds is a chelak. And so he slept, times that by 60, How much is 3.3 seconds? 3 minutes.
3
Oh,
minutes.
3 minutes. That's what you meant. 3 minutes. So about 3 minutes is Shishim Nishmasan. According to that, he didn't sleep more than 3 minutes at a time. He woke up every 3 minutes, and it was misnamnim kutsus, up and down, up and down. Says that's that shita. So different shitas how much a 60 breaths is. So whatever it is, in the daytime, if a person sleeps, so you wash your hands, but it's a suffix if there's ruach on them. So a lot of these halachas we're not as makbid on. Okay. Now we said last week that the halachas of Netilas Yadayim, how you wash your hands with what, we're not as makbid on in the morning as before bread. Before bread, the halacha is that we're makbid on the different waters, which could be all makbid. Certain waters are possible in Netilas Yadayim. Certain waters on Netilas Yadayim, and also kli. You have to have a kli, which we'll discuss. And you have to have a koyach gavra, has to be poured by a person. Those things, if you don't have that, that's puzzle for Netilas Yadayim for washing for bread. But for the morning, we paskin some machlokes rishonim, and the Machab says toiv lahakbid. The best thing is to be makbid, to have all those things, to have a keli, and to have pouring a koyach gavra, and the water should be kosher water. There should be water that's good to use, but toiv lahakbid, but it's not ma'akev. So, but the other person can use any water in the morning.
Is this based on the Kohanim? Based on
But kiyah. That's one of the reasons we wash in the morning. One of the 4 reasons we wash in the morning.
The way we do it.
Oh, the way we do it.
With the koyach gavra.
I'm not sure if it's learned out from there. We learn out from there. I'm not sure. That's where we learn it out from. Maybe that's where we learn out from.
I think you could just stick your hands in the river.
Yeah, so the river, so this is what we mentioned. So this is if you're washing with water from the sink. But if you just like a person could go into the mikveh himself, you go into the mikveh yatahar, so you could dip your hands in a mikveh, and you don't need to do 3 times or nothing. You dip your hands in a mikveh, that works. That's mataras yadayim. So if you dip your hands in a mikveh, shals for ruach ra, maybe you should dip it in 3 times. But be'etzem, ikar adin, 1 time is enough. Because tefillas yadayim work. There's something called tefillas yadayim. You put your hand in the water. Now, putting your hand in the water could work with a river. It could work. We'll discuss exactly what you could do it with. With a river, or even in snow, perhaps. You'll see. You could dip your hands in. That works. It's called tefillas yadayim. Now, in shachris, it works even in a bathtub or in a cup of water. You could put your hands in the shich and rub around. And it would work, but because it cleans your hand, but it doesn't take off the ruach ra unless if you put your hands in the same water 3 times in a cup, because that water really becomes tamei after the first time, right? But if you pour it on you 3 times, that works. But to dip it in, shich doesn't work. But if it's a mikveh water, if it's kosher mikveh water, then you could do it. You could dip your hands in there, and that's good.
Does that alter the bracha?
So the question is that alters the bracha. Some say you make a bracha al tvilas yadayim. Okay, some say you make al tvilas yadayim to dip your hands in. And some say no, you still make the regular nusach bracha al netilas yadayim. And we paskin that a person should make al netilas yadayim, regular al netilas yadayim. It's better to make, but because of this reason, it's better to actually do netilas yadayim than tvilas yadayim, because since there's a machlokes what bracha to make. Again, it's a whole problem. What bracha to make? Yeah, kufnun tes. Hamat bil yod of einim mevarach al tefillas yadayim al netilas yadayim l'mechaber. Ramah says v'yesham mevarachim al tefillas yadayim v'chein ikr. So Ramah paskins you say al tefillas yadayim. And the Shabura says v'achroinim eskimu kadas mechaber that you make a bracha al netilas yadayim. So you see, you have whole machlokes what bracha you make. So therefore, it's better l'chatchila to avoid the shaila. And even if you have a river there, if you have a cup, take the water from the river out of the cup and wash your hands. If you don't have a cup and you're stuck by a river, you want to eat your lunch, you went to a park and you're by a river, you want to eat your lunch by a lake, I'm telling you, I don't know. you want to eat your lunch and you don't have any cups available, so then you could just dip your hands in the water and you should make a bracha on netilas yadayim, dip your hands in, and you could be yotze.
Can I drink from that river again or stream?
You have to ask the health department.
No, let's say
you
it's
dip your
good.
hands in. No, because it's a mikveh doesn't become tummy. You're worried about because of the tumah on your hands, right?
Yeah.
So a mikveh doesn't become tummy.
To dip twice or once is enough?
For eating, once is enough. Once is enough because it does the job. We'll see why you have to do twice, 3 times for washing your hands up. Then we can get to that. But once is enough. So definitely, you can even do it in the snow. There's a whole machlokes about tvila b'shelag in toivel in the snow. It's a machlokes in the Shalag is mashlim. So it's not chatchila to dip your hands in snow unless you know what you're doing. You should some water should be melted around your hand. But the average, if one's really stuck, you could dip your hands in snow also. And make sure the snow touches all parts of your hands. It's a little hard to do that. But the snow on the bottom, if you have 40 sah, if you have enough, mikveh is 40 sah. So if you have enough snow there along in the front yard, you could make you could consider it a mikveh and dip your hands in a stream. The question is mayim she'uvim. If you have water that's not natural, you see, if you have a lake that's kosher, if you have a flowing water that's not from a mayon, that's not from a spring, but let's say from the snow melting on the mountain that's running down, or from rainwater, that is zoichlin. That's not kosher for a mikveh. Right? Not every river is kosher for a mikveh. So
you're saying if it's like from a glacier
the
melted...
halacha is just a brief background on hilchos mikvahs. Only 2 kinds of water is kosher for a mikveh. Water that's gathered stationary in a pool, in a kosher ditch in the ground, and it's stationary, and that water was not poured there by any keli. It just rain came in. That's kosher mikveh water. Or well water. Well water is kosher even if it's flowing. So the big question on the rivers is what kind of water is river water? Is that well water or is that considered rainwater? There's a whole big machlokes hapoiskim. Mikra didn't we hold that's considered well water, because Gemara says that whenever rain comes down from above, twice as much water comes up from below. So the river actually fills up more with its own source than with the rain. So therefore, we consider it kosher, but there is a shaila on the side of the banks. Whatever, there's a little shaila on that. But mikveh didn't we consider it kosher water. But if you have a stream of water which is definitely rainwater or snow or something that's melted, that would be not kosher for a mikveh, and therefore it wouldn't help to dip your hands in there.
Because a lot of streams come out of rock, basically, or they're combined with rain and...
It's combined. So we consider that's what the Gemara says. We have a Kabbalah that any water that comes down from Shemaim also comes from underneath the ground, more water connected. So there's always more water in there. That's another sugya. But in any case, as far as dipping your hands in, you definitely could dip your hands in a lake or a river and be yotze your netilas yadayim. That definitely works. But since you have a shail with the bracha, it's better if you have a kli to actually use the keli and wash your hands rather than dip your hands. Okay. Now just a brief background in washing hands. So there are a few things you need to have. You have to have a kli to wash your hands for bread, let's say. Okay, before we get to this, how you wash your hands, just one last thing which you mentioned. You said you have to travel. If you don't have water, you have to travel to wash your hands. How far do you have to travel? Now this refers to tefillah, to davening. If you didn't wash your hands before davening, you haven't washed your hands yet. Or for eating. For netilas yadayim shachris, if you're not davening yet, that it doesn't say you have to travel to wash your hands. Even though we said the Zohar says you can't go 4 cubits without washing your hands, but if you don't have water, you could just dry your hands until you could just wipe your hands until you get water. But if you want to daven shachris, you would have to wash your hands, so you would actually have to travel to get water to wash your hands. How far do you have to travel? So the Gemara says like this: if you're traveling already, you're en route, so you have to go lefanav, in front of you, a parsa. Parsa is 4 mil, which is about 4 to 5 kilometers. You have to travel in front of you. Behind you, in other words, out of the way, you have to go a mil. A mil is, let's say, 1 kilometer, a little more over a kilometer. So you have to go behind you, out of the way. So, practically speaking, guys at home, he's not traveling, so he has to go a mil. The water's turned off, there's no water. He has to travel a mil, which is a little over a kilometer, to get water. Now, that was in the old days, when you walk to get the water. Today, when you drive by car, so we measure a mil by time distance. So it's 18 minutes. So a person would have to travel 18 minutes. You could for sure find water today. I mean, unless you, I don't know where. You could find water with 18 minutes travel distance by car. You're mechuyev to go get water in order to wash your hands for davening or for bread. And there's no heter to eat the bread without washing the hands with water if there's water available within 18 minutes.
The big question.
If you're traveling forward...
Bottled water?
Yeah.
We use that a lot.
You could use bottled water, sure. Bottled water is good water, you can use it. Yeah. So you travel 18 minutes, you get it. If you're traveling forward, you're driving to New York, wherever you're driving, and you don't have water, then you have to go, if it's en route, you have to go 72 minutes. That's a parsa, it's 4 mil. 4 times 18. You would have to travel 72 minutes over an hour. If there's a rest stop, an hour down the road, you would have to go there rather than eating without washing your hands. If there's actually no water, even within a mil, within that travel distance, then you could wrap your hands with a towel and eat. Kairach map, you could wrap your hands with a towel, and then you could eat the bread without washing. Gloves. You can't wrap the bread, you have to wrap your hands. So you don't forget.
No, we have bottled water in the
So
car.
you wrap the bread, but
doesn't work. You have to wrap your hands. And then you could eat the bread. That's if there's no water available. No water available is a heter to be karach mappa. Or for some reason, if someone can't wash his hands, we'll get to that. Then you could be karach mappa. You could wrap a towel around his hands. But if there's water available within that distance, there is no heter for a person to. Now, some want to say, well, what do you mean? You're not mechuyev to lose money. Right? You're not mechuyev to take a monetary loss, maybe to have to wash your hands. It's a whole question. Do I have to take a monetary loss in order to wash my hands? So the gas costs money, and the water bottle maybe you're going to have to buy costs money. But this is, people travel 18 minutes by car. They don't think twice about the gas. I don't know why not, but they don't think twice about the gas. So it's hard to call that a hefsed that we would consider in halacha. But if there's really a hefsed moment involved, that could be a different shaila. How much you mechuyev to lose money in order to be mekayim this halacha of actually washing your hands? That would be a question. But in a normal circumstance, you're mechuyev to travel up to that amount in order to get water to wash hands for bread, or even for shachris. Washing hands for shachris. Okay. Now, so we discussed last week a kli. You have to have a keli. In order to wash your hands, you have to have a kli. Now again, for time in the morning, it's not makiv. But for bread, it's makiv. You have to have a kli. A kli has to be a kli shalem. If there's a crack in it, if there's a hole in it, let's say on the side, if there's a hole in the kli, so then you can't use the kli. Now, if there's a hole on top, but the kli is good on the bottom, you get into a shiloh like this. From the place of the hole and upwards is possible. It's not kosher kli. So you can only wash from the part of the kli that's in the bottom, but you're pouring it via the part that's on the top. So there's a whole shiloh in the achronim if that's good, because you're really pouring from the bottom, it's going through somewhere else. There's someone connect the shiloh to the question if you could use the water tank. You turn on the faucet. So the water tank is a kli. You turn on the faucet, it goes through pipes. Pipe is not a kosher kli for Netilas Yadayim, maybe. So maybe that's not called coming directly from the kli.
What's the issue in the kli being flawless? I mean, as long as it's watertight, you're...
No, there's halach has to be a kli that's shalem. It has to be a whole kli that's not. If it's a broken kli, you can't. If this is for bread, you can't use it. It's halacha, yeah.
And the material?
So the material also, it has to be something that stands. It has to be a kli. In other words, you could use a plastic bag Yeah, we'll get styrofoam. A plastic bag holds water, but it doesn't stand, right? So it's not a kosher kli. It has to be a kosher kli here. Yeah. If it's made like that, if it's made in a way where if it's made l'chatchil like that, it could be different. But a kli that's made whole and it has a pegima, it has something on it. So if it has, let's say, a pegima on the top, let's say it's cut on the top here, so you could pour through that pegima, because until the bottom part is kosher, but from that part on up is no good. You can pour through that. Some want to say, let's say you have a spout, right? So you should always try to pour from the lowest part of the kli. If you have a spout that goes higher, you should pour not from the spout. If you have a spout that goes lower, you should pour from the spout. You should always pour from the lowest part, because from that part on up, it doesn't have four sides around. That's not a kosher kli for netilas yadayim here. Here we go, here. If you have a hole in it, it's no good, it says here, in Halacha Gimel. But if you take through the hole, that's okay. If you go through the hole, as long as you have a kli underneath the hole, so you can go through that area. So many people don't notice. I was once at, I think in Eretz Yisrael, at a base of forest there, so they have the keli, chained onto the pole, right? So sometimes they chain it around the handle. Sometimes they actually make a hole in the kli and chain it through the hole. It just passes the kli. Just passes the kli. Okay, so you're washing for ruach ra, it's not ma'akiv, but if you want to wash for bread or something, sometimes in the lunchrooms they have, they don't make sure nobody should steal the cups. So they chain it on, and they chain it through the kli. You make a hole in the kli, you're passing the kli. You can't use it for netilas yadayim. Can't use it anymore. It's not something everybody knows about, but that's the halacha. We discussed the paper cups last week, right? What?
And if you open the hole on the handle, but not the kli itself,
no, the handle doesn't bother anyone. It's not the kli, but if you have the kli itself has a hole in it, you're running into problems. So any kli that has a hole, any kli that has a spout, I want you to be makbid to use the lowest part of the kli to pour from to make like a pitcher as a spout. So if the spout is lower than the rest of the kli, you should use the spout. It's higher than the rest of the kli, so then you should use the side. That's the. But you can use the spout if it's higher. But if it's lower, it's best to use the spout. We spoke about paper cups and things like that, right? So we said it's machlokes whether Moshe holds you shouldn't use l'chatchila, Chelkas Yaakov holds it's no good, but it's just Eliezer holds it is kosher. Others hold it's kosher. The shaila is two things. First of all, if it's taka can't last, the paper ones can't last. A few times they get soggy, so that could be worse. But the plastic ones, the styrofoam ones, could last for a very long time. So most places can hold it's actually kosher because it's something which does last. But others say that no, since it's meant to be thrown out, so it doesn't have a chashivas of a kli, maybe we should do that. I remember we were in the sukkah here. Same shal for Kiddush. We were in the sukkah here, and Rabbi Taub took two plastic cups and put them together and poured water in it. So he says, just Eliezer says, you could take two plastic cups put together. So Rabbi was his brother was here. That's that says, what do you mean? 0 plus 0 equals 0. Rabbi Taub did not like that. A comment. So it's just Eliezer. I actually looked around, I couldn't find the Tzitz Eliezer saying that Tzitz Eliezer actually holds one plastic cup as kosher anyways. Maybe he says somewhere to use two, I don't know. But he says one is kosher anyways, make around in, it's kosher. But those that are makbid not to use it, makbid not to use it,
Is pottery kosher?
Pottery is good. So regular, why not?
Just in ancient times, what they had was stone.
Stone is great.
No, they used stone instead of pottery because they didn't trust the pottery.
Well, it would break.
No, they for the pottery would absorb
the water.
tuma or whatever, and they use stone because stone would.
Well, that was for tuma, that's something else. But yeah, but for cups, these are good. These things hold water. They're permanent. Yeah.
And Tilas Yadayim for bread, that's a zaker to Truma, right, for the Kohen, is that correct?
So the Tilas Yadayim for bread, it starts. The takana was for truma. For truma, they had to wash their hands. So let me just explain this briefly, a little too briefly, and then we'll get into the halachas of this time. How the Tilas Yadayim for bread came about. So for the morning, it's for ruach ra, it's for washing, but for bread, it's a whole different thing. For bread, the reason tam takanas tetila is for two reasons. One is srach truma. So in the times when they were noyig tum and tyra, so the hands had a din of a sheni. The hands had the Rabbanan gave the hands as a din because Yadayim Askanias they made it a sheni for truma. So it's tuma sheni. A sheni can make a shlishi tame, right? It always goes down. Av makes a rishon, makes a sheni, sheni makes shlishi. So they gave the hands a halach of a sheni, a number 2 tuma. Number 2 tuma could only make a number 3. The only thing that can become a tuma for a shlishi is truma or kachim, could become even revi. But regular chulin doesn't become tummy. So if my hands are sheni and touches bread, chulin, it wouldn't become tummy. It wouldn't concern me. It wouldn't be tummy at all. But if you touch truma has more kedusha, and therefore it could become a shlishi. It could become puzzle for truma, and a kohen wouldn't be able to eat it. So in order, the kahanim would have to wash their hands in order to take off the tumah that's on the hands. The sheni that's on the hand, kahanim have to wash their hands. And in order that the kahanim should get used to it, we made everybody wash their hands. That's the first reason.
Generalized.
Yeah, generalized. We made a takana for everybody, takanas netilas yadayim for the whole Klal Yisrael, that they have to wash their hands. And even today, when we don't have truma, the takana wasn't bottled because Beis Hamikdash is going to be built soon, and we're going to have to get used to it again. Okay, and also we have it's mishum nekiyus or kedusha that it says v'skadashtem v'yisem kedoshim. The Gemara learns that in netilas yadayim. So for added cleanliness and kedusha, also they were masakin to wash their hands. So these two reasons. And we know we have a klal that whenever Chazal made a takana, there's the explicit reason they gave, and then there's a lot of reasons that aren't necessarily explicit. You know, there's the nigla, the regular reason there, and then there's other reasons which are included. That's why we can't be mevatel a takana just because we don't understand if the reason applies. But that's the takana of washing hands. But we have to understand the reason in order to understand all the details of the halacha. So if the hands are a sheni, the hands are tamei, you got to get off that tumah. So Chazal made it then. This is one of the things Shlomo HaMelech did. There's one of Shlomo HaMelech's takanas. He's in particular, Gemara says, one of his big, he was a chacham, a kaladim, Gemara Dasha, this is one of his big things he did. One was Erevin, and one was Netilas Yadayim, that he instituted So washing your hands with water, that as a way of, you don't have to go to a mikvah, full body mikvah you don't have to do. Washing your hands with water takes off this tumah shnias, the sheni tumah that's on the hands. Okay, but you have to do it the right way or it's not going to work. Now, here's the catch. Today, we have an abundance of water. So when you wash your hands, you usually pour enough water that you have a revius of water go over your hands, and that takes care of a lot of halachic issues. But me'ikar hadin, you don't need a revius of water to go over your hands. You just have to get enough water to cover your hand. Okay, it doesn't have to necessarily be a revius. So you need 2 washings. One, the first water is called mayim rishonim. You pour once on your hand. That water covers your hand. That water is actually makabel tumah from your hands. And the second water you pour on the hands is matarit, cleanses it. So that's why we wash twice. One time, the first water is mayim rishonim, which actually takes the tumah into the water, and the second water is matarit.
Washes the water off.
So it doesn't. So we have to be careful. It doesn't wash the water off. It actually purifies it. It actually purifies it. We have to understand this because if you have, it's a big. I'm not going to have time to get into it this week, but this is a big sense of confusion. Machlokes, Shmuel, Chazon Ish, and others. if you have water not from the first washing, let's say you touch something wet and your hands become wet from that. Now that water is tamei, that won't come off by washing your hands. It's only the water that came from the first natila, that was part of your natila sidayim, that becomes tamei, and the second water could purify it. But the question is, of an outside source of water that became tamei, could that become purified by washing it? And that's, you'll find people drying handles, the cups as well, have to get into all of the details of this halacha. But the way the Tzilas Dayim works is the first water becomes tamei, and the second water cleans it off. There's even some that do 3 times, because you might have something dirty on your hands. So the first is to wash off the lichluch, the dirt. The second one is to make it the water tamei, and the third one is to wash off that water. That's where 3 times comes. But now, if you have a revius of water, if you're using a revius, the klal is a revius is not mekabel tumah. So therefore, 1 time is sufficient. You only have to wash your hands once. You don't have to do it twice. If you have a revius of water and a revius goes on your hand, so that purifies your hand, and it doesn't become tamei, and you don't have to wash twice. So if someone's washing today a big cup of water, pours it over his hand, technically, he's good to go with 1 washing because it's a revius. Okay, this is the basic understanding of how you wash your hands. But that's the idea.
And this is how the Kohanim did it?
Kohanim did it from Makir, yeah, sure, they washed their hands. Oh, when they washed for eating bread also, yeah, that's how they did it. That's how they washed bread, that's how they washed it, yeah. That made the hands tar, and then once the hands were tar, then they were good to eat the bread. Everything they touched was tar. So that's the reason, the takana of washing your hands, shachas. So because of this reason, you have to have water that's could be used for natilas yadayim. There's certain waters that can't be used. If nasaba malacha, you wash your dishes with it. Certain waters can't be used for this. We'll see soon. And you have to have a kli that's proper, that makes it kosher. And it has to be poured, mikayach gavra, someone has to actually pour it. But if it's not being poured, mikayach gavra, it's just spilling out the water from something else, that is not kosher for natilas yadayim. Okay. Now, what is the halacha here? Now there's another halacha of chatzitza, which we'll get into, if you have things on your hands for chatzitza. So, for this reason, it says that if you wash your hands, you pick up your hands. Right? So it says, Tzorech lagbiya yadav, l'mayla. We're worried like this. But this, again, if you wash your hands with less than revius, we're worried the water is going to be on your hand, it'll go down, become tamei, and go back up. If you put your hands down again, and be matami your hands again. We're always worried that the water that's tamei, that you washed on your hands, is going to go be matami your hands again. That's why if your friend touches your hand, or you touch your other hand, possible, we'll get into this, you touch your other hand, after you wash one hand, you touch your other hand, it's bekabel tumah again, the water, and it messes up your hand, and you have to dry your hands and start again.
After
you're already washed. No, if you finished wash, we'll have to get into that halacha. If you finished washing, it's less of an issue. But when you washed your hands, so this is what we're concerned about. If the water on your hands becomes tamei, that can mess up your netilas yadayim, and to wash again is not going to help. Because once tamei the water's on your hands, you can't, from an outside source, you can't just wash it off. If it's on your hands from the first washing, then you can wash again and be matarid. But if it became tamei from someone else touching your hand, or from water going off and on, from water on some other source, you can't just wash it off. You actually have to dry your hands, and then you can wash again. Okay, so that's the rule we learned today about your wet hands from netilas yadayim.
So, Rabbi, what about, so the first time you wash that, let's say you're over a sink, you have dishes in the sink, does the tamei water do anything to the dishes there?
We're not so concerned about that, because they will wash it off. We're more worried about the halacha of tamei water is just that your hands are tamei, And there's a takana you can't eat when your hands are tummy. We're not worried about the other things necessarily. Today we don't keep tummy and tyra.
Right.
So we're only worried about the hands. That's the only thing we're really concerned about. So in order to be able to eat the bread.
So that's why they used to have the stone vessels.
Plus, Kahanim used to use stone vessels. It shouldn't become tummy, right?